Now, Commander David Malarkey, Honorary Admiral of the Texas Navy, would like to make the presentation to both Ellen and Lance Leone.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I am an Honorary Admiral of the Texas Navy. And on behalf of Governor Greg Abbott, I'd like to present this Yellow Rose of Texas to Ellen. Under the laws of the state of Texas, with all rights, privileges, and emoluments appertaining to said office and testimony whereof I have signed my name and caused the seal of the state of Texas to be fixed in the city of Austin this day, 4th June 2005, where that Greg Abbott. To all who see these readings, the state of Texas bestows Ellen C. Leone is hereby commissioned in Yellow Rose of Texas. As befitting the certificate, Lieutenant Leone will present Ellen with yellow roses. Also, on behalf of 400 plus members of the Texas Navy, and by decree of Governor Greg Abbott, I hereby commission Lieutenant Leone and Admiral in the Texas Navy. Thanks, good job, Lance.
And now for the flag passing ceremony. The flag of the United States of America was born almost casually in 1777. Over the years, it has evolved into a symbol of the free world. To the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, it symbolizes the concept of duty, honor, and country. President Woodrow Wilson once said, "This flag must be honored, and under which we serve is the emblem of our unity, our power, and our thought, and our purpose as a nation." Our nation honors her career service members by presentation of the national anthem upon their retirement. The Old Glory has been flown at all Lieutenant Leone's previous duty assignments and will now be folded and presented to him. I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I was there flying over the United States Coast Guard Academy. 17-year-old Lance Leone was appointed as a cadet on July 5th, 1998 as he entered the service. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am proud. I am true. I was there at the Coast Guard Academy when Lance Leone graduated in 2002. Was commissioned as an ensign. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little high, my colors a little true. I bow to no one but God. I am recognized all over the world. I am sought out. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. I am loved and I am feared. I was there in Boston, Massachusetts, over the Coast Guard cutter Escanaba when Ensign Leone advanced to Lieutenant JG in 2004 and was selected for flight school. I have fought every battle of every American war over the last 239 years. I was flown at Valley Forge, Gettysburg, Shiloh, and Appomattox. I was there at San Juan Hill, trenches of France, in the Argonne Forest, and Zio Farm, and the beaches of Normandy. Guam, Okinawa, Korea, Quezon, Saigon, Vietnam, Grenada, Kuwait, and Normandy. I am presently in the mountains of Afghanistan and the deserts of Iraq. And whatever freedom's inspiration. I was there at Pensacola, Florida, when Lieutenant J.G. Leone earned his wings of billows. I led airmen, soldiers, sailors, Marines, and guardians. I followed them. I watched over them. They loved me. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but they cheered me as I was proud. I was there in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, when Lieutenant Leone became aircraft commander and mission creator in the next to the team. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries that I have loved. It does not hurt, for I am under God and until I have been soiled upon, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country. I shall overcome, for I am strong and never fail. I was there in Sitka, Alaska, when Lieutenant Leone was promoted to State Department Day. I have slipped the bonds of earth and stood watch over the uncharted frontiers of space from my vantage point on the moon. I have borne silent witness to all of America's finest hours, but my finest hours are yet to come. And I am torn into strips and used as bandages for my new comrades on the battlefield. And I am blown at half-mast to honor my soldier, for I do not lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of the fallen son of God. I am proud. I am still here in San Antonio, Texas, as Lieutenant Leone receives his retirement papers. I am proud to have served you during your years of service to our country. I will be with you in your retirement just as I was during your active military service. Dear Lord, with you, long may I live, long may I wait. I am proud. My name is Leone. Now it is time to offer the retiree the opportunity to say a few words. So it's my pleasure to introduce Lieutenant Lance D. Leone.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out. So last night, I got a phone call from the speaker that was supposed to be here today, Master Chief, who happened to be visiting his son, who's currently stationed on the island I grew up in. But that's just how the Lord kind of works. But he didn't make it. He didn't make it down here today. He got his plane got canceled twice. But interestingly enough, Jim had decided to come down here. So a last-minute switcheroo, and how more perfect could you fit in with someone like Jim? I really appreciate you doing that for me. I feel like we both had an opportunity to help each other in Juneau, and we're going to continue our lives, our cause forever. For everybody else, thank you very much for coming out today. You're all VIPs. Every single one of you could have taken this stand today and said something of how our lives have uniquely come together. Seeing you today and thinking about what each of you have done for me is wonderful. You have shown me love, and I've had nothing to offer but appreciation. I look out at an audience today, and I see lots of amazing friends. So many people have weaved a part of their lives together with our lives, with my wife and children, that can only be miraculous. This might be today as close to heaven as you can ever imagine, for me looking out and just seeing people and saying, wow, that's how I met that person, how amazing. That's how I met that person, how amazing. Thank you for believing me, and thank you for our relationship. Flipping back, a couple months after the Black Phone went over in 1980, a sunny afternoon in Southern California, a bright orange and white helicopter took off from the air station at an international airport in Los Angeles. It began hoisting on a remote island off of California, around Catalina Island, to a young man who had suffered from decompression sickness as a result of a scuba diving accident. His legs were growing tingly, and bubbles were popping up in his spine because the nitrogen was coming out, and slowly cutting off circulation to his arms and his legs. As a Coast Guard helicopter pilot lifted off, a young, beautiful wife who was pregnant waved up. The sound of the chopper blades reverberated through her womb. The young man, a National Park Ranger, prayed to survive so he could be a father, and the Coast Guard was there to answer his prayer. And that's just what helicopter pilots do. We literally go out, unbeknownst to any prayers that anyone did, but we're answering prayers of some people that are stranded, that their boats are sinking, or that are in the desperate need of a medevac from one desolate island of Alaska to another desolate island. That's the reason I took this job. Now, there's a other reason is because they make movies about this kind of stuff. And I just happened to grow up with this movie called Top Gun, and that was kind of cool. And I never wanted to be a jet pilot because I wasn't about hurting people, but I know we need to hurt people sometimes. But I love the fact that Tom Cruise was rescued by a Coast Guard pilot. It's a sudden realized part of the movie, but that was it. I looked at that as very interesting. That's very interesting. They got all the kudos. What was the famous line from the movie that the Coast Guard pilot said? Remember? It's like, you can't bring them all home, or something. Let go, Bruce. Maverick, don't worry about it. Anyways, that's why people join the Coast Guard, because of the movies we made. To retire is defined by Wikipedia, the new source for excellence, as leaving one's job, ceasing to work, withdrawal, and seclusion. With that definition, I can actually look at a picture of a fading, white-haired man on a rocking chair, looking back at the setting sun, thinking about his life before him. So, needless to say, I'm not that old man, so I'm going to call this a graduation. Today is my graduation from the Coast Guard. After 17 years, as of yesterday, 17 years ago, I'm going to be graduated today with a degree in Coast Guard life skills. These life skills include how to fold my underwear into a little smiley face. That was very beneficial early on. Socks. Skills such as being able to be woken up in the middle of the night, blindfolded, and having to get dressed and be able to find all the clothes. These are all very important life skills. Never mind being a helicopter pilot and rescuing people. But as for a graduation speech, I can do that. My first graduation speech was actually in 1994 in 8th grade. I was chosen to get up and give a speech to our 8th grade class. So, in typical fashion, for an 8th grader, I just went ahead and pulled out a little Dr. Seuss quotes. Oh yes, yes, yes. The Places You Will Go. Now that is a good book. That's a memorable book. You have brains in your heads. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you know, and you are the one who decides where to go. Amazingly, that sounded really good in 8th grade, and amazingly, that still sounds pretty good right now. I love my family. I really, really love my family. If you look at the pictures up there, I love them. I love my father, I love my mother, and I think it's so important. Ellen, thank you for loving me and allowing me to love you so much. You've gone far beyond any expectations that a 19-year-old boy could have ever imagined when we first kissed in February of 2000. February 29th, that only happened once every 4 years. We kissed more than we did. You've been with me in sickness and in health, and we love each other more today, I know, than we did then. And I know that tomorrow will bring more and more and more as we see each other grow. To go to sleep every night and to give thanks for God's gifts, including you, and to wake up in the morning knowing that you're still there, breathing beside me, I really appreciate that. Sophia, you made me a father. That was fun. I know you've gone a long way of teaching me how to be a dad, which is good. She corrects me often as a little daughter on how to be a better dad. You're really amazing with animals, including raising little baby rats. And I'm not talking about your brothers. You make Daddy very proud. Brett, get your hands off Daniel. Now sit down, Daniel. You're such a kind man, and you're so smart and a good little Texan. Last year, Brett decided that he was going to go mutton busting. And if anyone that's not here from Texas, that is when you get your helmet on, and you get out into the big arena where the whole bull riding and everything does, and Brett got on the back of a sheep, and he rode that sheep. And the audience would have never known that Thank you for learning to walk on an Alaskan ferry boat. That made Daddy very proud to see the little waddling, 1-year-old waddling across the deck on a tossing and turning Alaskan ferry boat. And we have a video of that. You make Daddy very proud of that. Daniel, you're a very good boy. You make Daddy laugh a lot with your silly faces and your silly behavior and saying dum-dum all the time. Thank you for being born in Alaska and ensuring the Leone family always has a direct link to that oil money up there. Thank you. Kids, after 5 years, it's been very difficult as a family. And I know I've spent a lot of time on the phone and a lot of time away from you guys, fighting and fighting and fighting. But I wanted to let you know that Daddy's coming home, and we've got that membership to Six Flags, and we can go watch the water slides, okay? And we can even stop at 7-Eleven today for a slush, okay? Good. So let me explain real quick. Back to Dr. Seuss. I'm sorry to say, sadly, but it's true, that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. Interestingly enough, the book even spoke of what we all experience. Today was designated my retirement ceremony because of how the personal management system in the Coast Guard works. They took my actual last day that happened to be July 27th, and they gave me 20 days. So it happened to be right here on July 7th. It happened to land directly on the 5-year anniversary of a very significant event. It was about this time that 5 years ago I was flying a beautiful Coast Guard orange and white helicopter. It was a gorgeous day, almost like a Texas day, but we weren't in Texas. We were in the depressing Pacific Northwest, which never has sunshine, ever. But today was a beautiful blue sky day. And beside me was Sean. Sean had 3 beautiful children. Sean does have 3 beautiful children, and a lovely wife. Sean was an expert in his field, an aircraft commander, an IP, and he was my mentor from the academy. We'd actually spent 2 summers together sailing around the Pacific Ocean together. I trusted this man with everything. In the back were 2 men, 2 very good men. One who had just fought for custody out of hope of his son. One custody. As a man winning custody, that's nearly impossible. Don't get divorced. You'll never see your children again. He won custody, and he had moved up to Alaska. The other guy, Brett Banks, had 2 sons, and he was very excited that later on in the summer, his daughter would be born. We were flying up the coast together, and the warm air held our helicopter as we soared gently up the coast. It was absolutely beautiful. I was looking out at the Pacific, and Sean was looking at the mountains, but luckily we could both see each other. Mount Hood was over there, Mount St. Helen, just an absolutely beautiful day. There are moments in everyone's life that are just absolutely perfect. In fact, you feel completely indestructible. And then in all of our lives, all of a sudden, something changes. You might be at the top of your game, you might have your mortgage is almost getting paid off, and then everything all of a sudden changes. It's a phone call, it's a message, it's an announcement, and in my case, it was unmarked power lines that suddenly changed everything. Everything changed in that moment for 7 children who no longer have fathers, or 3 children, 1 not yet born, who would deal with a father with much frustration and anxiety in life. That was this moment 5 years ago. Today, believe it or not, today, literally 2 hours ago, 5 years ago. If we were just 6 inches higher, I would have not met most of you in this room. 6 inches, I wouldn't be here today. But what a blessing 6 inches are, because I have met all of you. I'm relieved to be and to have been a Coast Guard helicopter pilot. I'm relieved to have rescued over 100 people in North Carolina, being stationed there, and being able to fly down here to Texas from North Carolina. But every day, every one of us gets to make a decision on something that happens in our lives. We get to decide if we're going to be bitter or if we're going to get better. Bitter or better. Your child kicks you in the shin, are you going to get bitter or are you going to get better? Something else happens, are you going to get bitter or are you going to get better? But today, I've been growing and growing and growing and attempting to make better be the life choice for me. I want to be better based upon whatever happens. If I leave today and a car hits my car, I'll say, hey, pleasure to meet If the Master Chief doesn't get to show up today, I'll say, well, it wasn't supposed to be. Because that's the only option there is. You cannot change the past. Our God is not a God of punishment, which is easy to say when stuff goes wrong. Well, I'm getting punished for something. Sure, you might have made a mistake, but you don't have to get punished for that mistake. You can admit that mistake, learn from it, move on, and accept that forgiveness. Our God is a God of grace and forgiveness, and I've seen it over and over again. And the more grace you give others, the more grace you give, they give you. And the more grace then you can give yourself. I know this because of what He did for me and what He does for us every single day. I know there are many more mountains ahead. I know that this might have not been the most difficult situation in my life. I hope it is. Lord, I hope it is. But I know it might not be. And I know having 3 wonderful children, they're going to go through difficult times, which is very difficult as a parent to watch your children go through difficult times. And not be able to just smack them up the side of the head and put them on the right path, but to have them figure it out. So 2 nights ago, I was reliving my days of being a Coast Guard helicopter pilot, the best way helicopter pilots know how, and that's watching movies about us. So I went ahead and put the DVD into the thing about The Guardian. Have anyone seen The Guardian? Well, we got another hour and a half, so we can just put it on the big screen and watch it right now. The Guardian is a movie about helicopter pilots in Alaska. It's perfect, it fits. But I'd never paid attention to the movie before. I was always looking for the action of being a helicopter pilot. But it slid by me that anything it mentioned about survivors. And in the opening of that movie, this is the quote it read. There is a legend, and it was in a voice much deeper than mine. There is a legend of a man who lives beneath the sea. He is a fisher of men, the last hope of all who have been left behind. Many survivors claim to have felt his gripping hands beneath him, pushing him up to the surface, whispering strength until help could arrive. But of course, this is only a legend. Pretty good, right? In the beginning of the movie? I had never heard that quote before. I'd seen this movie over and over again. And it was like looking up through the waters. It was absolutely beautiful. But I promise you today, if you talk to Jim and I, it's absolutely not a legend. There is someone out there that does fish us out of difficult times. And when you're in a difficult time, it's not about, you struggling through the difficult time, but in a crazy way, it's literally just giving up and giving it to God. And then, mysteriously, everything starts working out just as it was supposed to work out. It's not about you fighting through it, like proudly saying, I got through this on my own, which is what I was doing in the beginning. But it's literally just giving up and saying, I don't know what to do. And then it seems like everything works. But having children, anyone in the audience that has children, would you want your children to fight through it, or would they want your child to come to you and say, Dad, what am I supposed to do? And you can put your arm around your little child and say, son, this is what I've got for you. I've learned all of this stuff. So why would our God be any different than that we can see in our own lives? And again, it's a great movie. I don't give it any credit, but there was some rescuing helicopters, and there was also a helicopter crash, which is very sad. So back to that young mother standing on the island off of California, waving to the Coast Guard helicopter. She believed in this loving God, and she had an enduring, optimistic view on life, which I'm a member of the Optimist Club here in San Antonio. I recommend you join if you have any positive outlook on life. That was just an ad for that. She eventually gave birth to a beautiful baby boy on September 19, 1980. Her husband fully recovered and helped and loved the baby with all his heart. The young new father's prayers were answered, and that day God caused that Coast Guard helicopter to come out and allow him to be rescued. And he continues to shine the light of God today. He's actually sitting right here in the front with his grandchildren.